Morning, everybody, and welcome to Charlton Live, sponsored by PSF Steel Limited. My name is Louis Mendes. Hope you guys are all well on your Sunday morning. On today's show, then we'll be looking back at yesterday's 1-0 defeat up at Wrexham. Joining me to do that, first up, very excited to see how this goes. Top right is Benji Clegg. How you doing, Ben?
Hello, mate. Yeah, I'm good, thank you. We had a decent day despite the result, didn't we?
Yeah.
Nice to meet loads of different fans coming up to me and said, "Have you sorted your Wi-Fi out yet?" Well, I hope. Well, it's always all right when I watch the show, but I've got a laptop here and a desktop, so let's see how it goes today.
Fascinated to find out how it fails today, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Also, I mean, the only Freeman saying so far the Wi-Fi looks good, but I mean, let's not get ahead of ourselves. Also, down the bottom of the screen there is Joe Puddyfoot. How you doing, Joe?
Yeah, better than yesterday. Good night's sleep, a cup of coffee, and Chinese takeaway for breakfast, and the world seems a little bit better again.
That is nice. I went down the Mark Newbury route and actually had a mince pie this morning, so I can now no longer take the mick out of him for celebrating Christmas too early because I am now officially in mince pie season. Excellent, right? So on. Yeah, well, Christ, yeah. So on this morning's show, as I said, we'll look back at the defeat up at Wrexham yesterday. We're going to hear the goal from Charlton TV, a bit of a weird one, wasn't it? Also, we're going to hear from the Addicks boss Nathan Jones, some talking points out of his post-match yesterday, I think, and we'll hear from Kane Ramsey as well, one of the many players who's carried an illness throughout this week. As Nathan says, it seems that going to Wrexham curses us for some reason, and we've turned up very depleted. Again, like we did when we went there at the end of last season. Want to hear from you guys as well. Let us know your thoughts on yesterday's narrow defeat. You can email us studio@charltonlive.co.uk. You can tweet us at Charlton Live, or you can go into the live chat section of our YouTube page and give us your thoughts. Just like Murray did earlier, said that I thought yesterday's game would only have one goal in it from two teams that have solid defensive. The penalty came because we had a footballer playing in an unfamiliar position and he panicked. So yeah, let us know your thoughts on yesterday's defeat. How you're feeling going into the next international break. We will end the show a couple of minutes early today, of course, because it's Remembrance Sunday, and there'll be a minute or 2 minute silence at 11 o'clock. So we'll end a couple of minutes early. So those of you who want to get involved with that will be able to. Ben, before we hit the goal, strange game that one. You know, we didn't really find out properly until after that it felt like basically the whole defence was carrying either a knock or illness. But we had our chances in that first half. You know, hit the crossbar with Harvey Nibbs, had a couple of other really good moments. And at half time, I was thinking we really should be ahead here. Hope it doesn't bite us in the backside. Then Wrexham, much the stronger of the two sides in the second half, it felt like. But even with that, I felt like it was going to take something either special or in this case, utterly bizarre for us to concede a goal. And that's what it was with the Onel Hernandez handball that led to the penalty that Windass buried in the bottom corner. How did you sum up your thoughts on yesterday's game, Ben?
Yeah, frustrated, I would say, because, as you said, we heard afterwards about these players not being well and some of them being injured, etc., and playing through it. And it didn't show in the first half, did it? I thought we were the better side in the first half. We created the better chances. If it wasn't for the crossbar, that nib shot, then we would have gone into the break in the lead, and we know how good we are when we do take the lead in these games. So that was frustrating. And then second half, we just didn't come out, did we, at all? We didn't provide any attacking threat. So I guess those injuries and illnesses started to tell. I mean, even when we brought Greg Doherty on, normally he's running about and leading the charge, and he just looked very lethargic. And if it wasn't for that chance very late from Berry, where we so nearly nicked a point, you could just say we just offered nothing in that second half, which was very frustrating, very uncharacteristic of us. And I think I always look at a game and think, right, did the result match the game? I just don't think it did really. And I know we're a bit biased, but if you think, did Kaminski have to make many big saves? Not really. I mean, he made one in the first half from Cleworth, but it was quite routine. If he lets that in, it's poor on his part. And yeah, we will come to talk about it, won't we? But a very bizarre decision from O'Neill to kind of leap like that with his arm. Very strange, but there we go. We were looking for a fight back. We were looking at the bench to say, is Leaburn going to come on? Is Rob Apter going to come on? These players weren't used. Only Nathan knows why. I was frustrating as a fan because then we saw Lloyd get chucked up front and you're thinking, what? We've got players on the bench that could do that role. But yeah, frustrating afternoon because I don't think we deserve to lose. But there you go. That they took their penalty well, and then we head into this international break badly needing it, don't we?
Yeah, definitely. I think the international break has come at a good time for us. Right, let's have a listen back to the goal, the build up to the goal, and the goal from Charlton TV. Brownie was there alongside Greg and Terry.
Not the area. Kabore goes onto his left foot, and what's the referee giving here? Is there a penalty? Kabore up against Hernandez. I have no idea what that's for.
Is that handball?
I literally have no idea what that's for. It is a penalty. I can only assume Hernandez's hand was outstretched, is it? Or, well, I mean, I'd have to see the replay. I have absolutely no idea. The cross come from McLean. It's a deep one. Is that the handball from Hernandez as the flick away? No, it's his head.
No, it's not.
Is it his hand? Is his hand there?
What a spot that is.
Or is this one?
That's his hand. That's a hell of a spot.
I'm still not convinced, I'm going to say, although I've only seen it briefly, but the upshot is it's a penalty in controversial circumstances.
It's a mad couple of moments because the header actually should have been put out for a corner. Remember the initial header that came in a moment ago to Hernandez? Popped that out for a corner, defend the corner. He headed it straight to Kabore. They recycle and that cross comes in, and he in my opinion, from that second replay, I can see why he's given it. It looked like his right hand was above his head and it's hit that first.
I have to see it again. I've got to say I didn't see that, but about to your
that is
spot,
cruel.
Brownie. But, it is a penalty, and it's Windass with it.
That is cruel.
The referee gives the go-ahead for it. Can Windass put Wrexham
Windass
ahead? The Dragons wait.
Prepares to take this penalty.
A very short run-up he's going to take.
Drills it to the left of Kaminski, and Wrexham have the lead.
Yeah, so it's a two-step run-up, and it's power, and it's accurate, and it's past Kaminski before he can get across and throw out a left hand. That's a little bit wicked, and it's unfortunate, but you don't lead with your hand above your head. It's as simple as that.
There we go, the commentary highlights from Charlton TV with Greg. With Terry and Brownie, and with someone else in the background also loudly commentating sat next to him, it sounded like. I mean, let's get straight into the nub of it, Joe. At the time, I was as baffled as Terry as to what had happened, because it was so hard to see initially. But, I mean, I guess, and it is hard to tell who's actually made the decision, because you watch back about 5-6 seconds after the handball, and neither the ref or the lino seem moved, but someone between them has spotted it, and it is a great spot from whoever spotted it, because it's a flick of the hand by Hernandez. Lord, it looks like he was swatting away a fly as he was trying to head the ball away, and unfortunately it's made contact with the ball. It was a really, really bizarre one.
Yeah, for my money, I think the linos made the call. Just because if you watch the replay, the ref is not watching play anymore and is just looking at the lino. I think someone could have committed GBH off the ball there, and the referee would have had absolutely no idea because he wasn't paying any attention to the game anymore. But there's some sort of conversation that appears to be going on. He's in an acre of space, an absolute acre of space. The only thing that I can come up with in my head for why he's done it is that he thinks that the defender is right behind him and is going to be towering over him. And if he flicks it with his head, it's going to just come straight back into the middle. But that doesn't even necessarily add up, because if you're going to, flick it with your hand, at least do a Tom McIntyre last season and punch it properly out of play and get rid of the danger altogether. But yeah, a moment of absolute madness and real deflating one actually for the guys, especially if you've got all those players out there running on empty, running on fumes, injured, and put up a stoic performance and stoic defense, and then at the last minute have a real sort of complete lapse or lack of judgment to ruin the game for everybody is really, really unfortunate. I think that, without that, I think we probably go on and scrape a point out of that. And I say scrape a point, I think we should have probably won it on chances. But if you're going to give a team like Wrexham that impetus and that much of a head start, then you're going to struggle. And at least now you can sort of consign it to history and move on. But it does pain me in my soul really to have given Wrexham 5 points across the last 3 games, and have got very sorry, more than that now, but giving them 7 points out the last 3 games, and thinking that we really should be coming out of this one with some just desserts. But yeah, there's nothing you can do about it now. Just have to draw a line under it and move on, unfortunately.
Yeah, Luke said it was the lack of appeals from everyone on the pitch and the crowd that confused me. It's a definite pen. So that's the weird thing. So actually, when you watch it back, there's I think Dobbo was one of them. Maybe one other player seemed to have noticed it. I think it might have been Kiefer Moore actually, but no one. I mean, where I was sitting in the press box, Ben, I had absolutely no idea what happened. I don't know what you were a bit further around the away end. Like, was anyone as that cross came in thinking, "Oh, blooming hell, he's knocked that one away. He's swatted it away with his hand." Or was everyone just as confused as we were in the press box?
I think, yeah, everyone was very confused by it. I was quite a calm head, actually. I just said to people around me, I was like, just look at O'Neill's reaction. He's not shouting at the ref. He's not complaining. He just looks really guilty, because the other players, you saw Doc and Coventry with their hands on their head going, what have you given this for? And then they looked at him and he was like, well, I don't know. But he wasn't saying to the ref, you're joking or anything like that. So it was just bizarre, wasn't it? I mean, there was no one in the way of the ref. So you think he would have given it straight away. But it must have been the linesman that gave it, because as Joe said to me earlier, it was just so odd that it looked like he was about to head it, but then the movement of the ball wasn't from his head. It was just like, oh, okay. But I mean, as you saw from the highlights, the play just carries on for a little bit, doesn't it? But yeah, I think Dobson won that for him. He really went for it when it first was given. When it first happened, he was like, ref. Then he kind of stopped because the play's going on, and then obviously it's given. But yeah, no complaints. It is a penalty, isn't it? We'd be saying the exact same down the other end. Yeah, just a bit crazy that's how we've lost the game. It's frustrating, isn't it?
Yeah, because I think it was heading for a 0-0 at that point when we hadn't taken our first half chances, and Wrexham were clearly on top in the second period. But I wasn't feeling too nervous in terms of their actual chances created. That corner that Kiefer Moore headed back across goal, which was the first real heart in mouth moment for me. And other than that, I just thought, as Joe said, we were stoically doing what we had to do to maybe come away with a point, which would have been a really good point. Dutchy said the awarding of the pen is bizarre. Both the ref and Lino were looking directly at Hernandez, and neither indicated handball straight away. The ref somehow decided to play advantage before giving a pen. So yeah, the whole mechanics of it was quite interesting. It was just a really bizarre one. But they've come to the right decision, so I don't think we can really really complain too much about it. Shirty says we were okay until the penalty. From the away end, it looked like Hernandez had headed it away, and no one appealed for it, including their crowd. However, have seen the replay now, so fair play. Robert says, did we deserve to win some games where we have? I feel we're sitting exactly where we should do in the table in terms of maybe sometimes you lose a game that wasn't much in it. Sometimes you win a game where there wasn't much in it. These things will play out over the course of the season, certainly. But yeah, yesterday was one that stung because those chances in the first half, Joe, I was saying at half time in my reporting that Charlton should be up. We had the big one in the first minute where we broke quite well, and I think it was Carey's shot that went across the goal. The keeper got a hand to it. Alafe was trying to turn it in on the stretch at the far post as well. He looked like he was appealing that maybe he'd had his shirt pulled or something, but that wasn't to be. I think the Bree shot after TC had done really well down the left-hand side. That was a good save by the keeper, who had a really good game for them, Okonkwo. And then Coventry volleying over sort of from the rebound. And then obviously the big one, the Harvey Nibbs moment, where Alafe shot broke to him 6 yards out. And I wonder if Harvey had slightly more time than he realised. He's sort of leaning back and rushing the shot, but actually he might have had half a second just to regain his balance and to put that one under the crossbar in hindsight, which is obviously, it's a lot easier to say that when you're watching the highlights sat on your ass on the sofa rather than when you're the man with the goal gaping, and you've got not long to make a decision.
Yeah. I think he is a better finisher than that. I think if he had been starting the games recently and had a little run of form, he probably slots that away. But he has been, largely on the periphery, getting sort of sub appearances, and how many gilt edge chances he had since his goal on the first day of the season. Not that many. So you sort of forgive him the ring rustiness, but he really should be tucking that away. And I think Carey in that position puts that in the back of the net. It was, same for Tanto's chance, actually. I think after Kelman's goal, if that was Kelman at the back stick, he is alive and sharp to it and tucks it away as a bit more of a natural predator finisher. So both of those are opportunities that we should have done, got more out of and done more of. But we were, looking a little bit a cut above in sort of our attacking play in the first half. I don't remember them cutting us open as well as we did for either the Carey chance or the Bree chance or the Nibbs chance. We really did have some good opportunities there. But if you don't take your chances, then you don't get the points. And I did say this at the start of the season. I felt that over the course of this season, we have been the better team in terms of performances in most of the games. But we keep losing out we do lose out on moments sometimes. And this is another one of those games where they won the moments, and probably over the 90 minutes, we edged the game. But I'd rather be a team that's edging the performance or edging the game in performances and losing out on moments, because that doesn't continue to happen too often. You tend to get more results if you're the better team over 90 minutes than if you're sort of getting smash and grabs. And when you consider the investment that we've put in versus the investment that they've put in, 30 odd million versus not quite 10 million, you'd be saying, well, they've definitely been shortchanged in terms of what they've got there versus what we were able to turn out. And we're also a team that comes on so much stronger in the second half. So that first half performance, I think we normally go on and capitalise on. You don't necessarily need to take your chances, but when you are as depleted as we are, if you get an opportunity to get your nose in front and have something to hold on to, you really have to. And I think that also, the likes of Nibbs potentially in the first half, and even Tanto, they're probably aware that if they get a chance in the first half, they're going to need to take it, because are they going to get the same depth and breadth of chance in the second half with the players in the position they are? Probably not.
Yeah, Shirty says Harvey Nibbs has to score that chance that hit the bar. And Luke agrees with Joe, says if Nibbs is playing regularly, he tucks that one away. But Stephen says the chance wasn't that easy. Morgan's a Wrexham fan joining us, says, agree with most of what you said. Personally feel that they edged it, but that result realistically could have gone either way, and there couldn't have been many complaints. The penalty was just so bizarre. A few players asked for the penalty, but I think everyone was just confused as to why he did what he did. And yeah, it's one of those things that, there's no clear cut answer to that. It's just a player who's got himself in a muddle, panicked, and then jumped weirdly and swatted the ball away. It's just a weird one. It's very similar to the Tom McIntyre one we had last season, like just a head loss moment. But at least he was under a little bit of pressure. This was just he's got his limbs. There was limbs all over the shop, but unfortunately not for good reason. Yesterday, I mean, we did have that big chance, Ben. You know, with Berry right at the end, and again, I think someone in the chat has just said Okonkwo man of the match, and I think to be fair, he probably is. Yeah, sure. He said Wrexham's keeper man of the match, 3 excellent saves with that best one that, at the end there from Berry. You know, that's why, I mean, I'm disappointed. You come in, it's a long way home, you know, and then obviously we're going to talk about the subs or lack thereof of certain players later on as well when we hear from what Nathan has to say on it, the likes of Leaburn and Apter and stuff. But, you know, if we'd come away with that with a point yesterday, especially knowing what we now know about the injuries, I would have been absolutely buzzing, to be fair. Like that would have been a really good result and kept the run going. So it's just one of those. It feels very much for me like it's just one of those days where, you know, just didn't end up going our way, and we've lost to a really bizarre one. And if Berry's header goes in at the end of that, this would be a very, very different show.
Yeah, totally. God, I've watched it back a couple of times. I didn't realise how good the header was from, I mean, where we were in the ground. We were down the other end, and I had like kind of a few stanchions in my way looking down the other side of the ground. So you kind of didn't realise what a great header it is from Berry to get his position and flick his neck towards that great cross by Sonny Carey. And you're right, that would have been a lovely moment. As our Wrexham fans said, yes, I think Joe's right. They won the moments yesterday. But they would have been able to say, yeah, fair enough. Like the game was a point overall. Yeah, as I said though, in that second half, we just didn't look like we were gonna get a goal from anywhere, any attack. I think Tanto looked knackered, Tyrese looked tired. We just didn't really have the reinforcements to change it. But you know what Luke Berry's like. He sniffs out a chance in the box like he did against Hull. Right place, right time. And yeah, I was just looking on FOTMob there with the ratings, and they give Okonkwo the man of the match. Yeah, he's a good keeper, isn't he? And he's got him a good point yesterday, unfortunately for us. But as you say, I'm not too downhearted about it. It is one of those days. Wrexham seems to be a bit of a bogey side for us. But also, I'm proud of the performance. I think as a defence, they defended very well against one of the best strikers in the league. And I think we kept them quiet. Kaminsky, as you said, made that double save late on in the second half, but still the shots was quite at him. So yeah, as a unit, I thought we played well. It's just attacking wise in that second half. As Joe said, we're used to these subs coming on and making a difference, and that turns the game for us. And that just obviously wasn't there yesterday. But the players that played, I thought, did a good enough job to get a point yesterday.
Yeah, Luke says, I love Berry. Maybe it's because he's a fellow Luke, but I always feel like he makes things happen. His movement is Premier League level. Jordan saying, Jay Doran, sorry, I should say, saying 3 wins in 5 shows progress, but every time we look settled, we remind ourselves of how far there is for us to go. And I don't really want to say this because, like, Wrexham are well below us in the table. We've had a much better start to the season than them. But again, I mean, they're in a position to spend and make a lot more signings than we are, so that they've had to bed in, or whatever you want to call it, and they have started picking up recently. But there are sides in a position to spend a lot more money than us this season, and there are always going to be little things that can tip games. And yesterday, it wasn't anything that even they did. It was just a weird one that we did. As Paul says, it's the international break's fault. Because now we've lost 3 out of 3 going international breaks this season, so it's weird timing. Changes made before the game, then, Joe. So I think it was 3 changes that Nathan Jones made yesterday, and we described the formation as a 5-box-1, so a 5-2-2-1, if you want to call it that. So Ramsay, Jones, and Gillespie as the back 3, and then sort of in the box. Was sort of Carey and Coventry at the base of it. Obviously, we had the wing backs on there as well, but Nibs and Fuller and Tanto. I mean, what did you make of it? Obviously, Fuller getting his first start, Ramsay playing on the right side of defence, as we knew was going to happen with the injuries. Overall, the team selection of what was available and the way it lined up. I mean, particularly in that first half, it looked like it was working really well.
Yeah, I think that we've probably got to one of the best teams that you could maybe put out. one thing that does surprise me is Jones said it to Charlton after the game that Bree was carrying a pretty heavy injury and was struggling. So I don't understand why, Apter didn't get any minutes at all yesterday again, especially if the player that, is coming and taking this position is crocked. You'd think you'd go for a fully fit player who might be found a little bit out defensively, but can, relieve pressure and carry the ball up the park. But I suppose we'll point to the midfield being a little bit more attacking than normal with Carey in the deeper position. We were definitely causing them problems in the first half, and you can't get away from that. I think Fuller had a good game again without necessarily coming up with any sort of defining moments. Obviously Nibs had his chance where he broke through as well. I do think though, as a team, we lose a bit by pulling Carey into that deeper position. And for me, I'd be interested in trying Nibs out in a deep, because he did play deep with Savage at Reading for a little while, and giving Carey that freedom, because I think that Nibs, has the physicality to break from deep and get into the box. And Carey has just a bit more on the ball. And I do wonder if we may have got something more out of the game with him buzzing in and around behind Tanto than Nibs, who's a bit more of a direct physical runner and threat. But, we're running on fumes. We've got players on the bench that can't even come on. So you've just got to shuffle the deck and take what you can. And it's a tricky one for Jones. I think the only one you can really point to is if Bree is injured, then I don't understand why Apter can't get minutes on the right, because he was, a star player for us before Bree came in. He only really came in my eyes, because Ramsay got himself sent off, against Millwall, and Burke had to come in, and you can't play Apter in front of Burke because he's not got the ability that Ramsay does. But whether that would have just left us too open at the back and, would have lost a little bit more, you could make that argument. But, in general, I'm for going at teams rather than defending. I'd rather have a fully fit than a half fit player.
Yeah, excellent. Right, we'll. I think we should go into the Nathan Jones interview a couple of minutes earlier than normal, just because there are a fair few talking points about obviously Leaburn not coming in. You'll hear the interview, and it's one of those that sort of raises more questions than Nathan was willing to answer at the time on the situation when you actually hear it. The press conference did go on a bit longer, so he does talk a little bit about Apter in my bit, but then we went in a little bit more detail with him after, which isn't in this clip, but I'll give you a couple of the quotes because they're on Rich's Substack as well, so make sure you sign up to read them in full. But let's hear what Nathan Jones made of yesterday's defeat up at Wrexham, and he talks, as I say, a little bit about team selection and injuries and whatnot in this bit here right now.
Narrow defeat here at Wrexham. How did you see it today?
Look, it's a moment of madness that's cost us at least a point. Real context behind it. I mean, Lloyd, Bree and Kane Ramsey in the normal world wouldn't have played today because of illness and injury, but they've gone through the barrier really for the club and for us. Not everyone does that, but they have. And I thought it was a tight game. I thought we had a lot of good chances first half. Should have been ahead. And then it's taken that bit of madness to break the deadlock. We still had a chance later on. Berry's got a wonderful header and keeper's made a wonderful save. But look, I'm proud of the group for what they've given me, because I can't ask for any more.
Have you had a chat with Anel yet to understand what was going through his head with that mistake?
Look, you can't. He's not a fullback. It's just we are stretched to the absolute limit at the minute. And that's why he's had to play there. He's had to come on and play there. So it's technically not his fault. It's in the false position for him. But look, we have to stomach it.
On another day, the chances you had in the first half, that Berry chance right at the end, it could be a very different result.
It could be, and look, that's what we have to think. But it's more than that. Like, today, in a normal world, Lloyd wouldn't have played. Neither would Kane, neither would Bree. But we can't. We stretch to the absolute maximum. And that's why we've come here twice now and been depleted with injuries. It seems like this place is a jinx. But look, I'm proud of the group because they're giving me everything.
Well, with those problems mounting up there in terms of injuries, is it a good time again for the international break?
I mean, we just had to get to the break. Once we got to the break, then it gives us 2 weeks of respite, and we'll clear the building and give them that time. And hopefully we can start getting a few back. I mean, we're good in most areas. It's just defensively probably we're a bit light.
And after the other 2 international breaks so far, you've come back looking like a fresh side again.
Well, we're going to need to do that because, as I said, they're giving me everything. And as I said, those 3 shouldn't have played today. Bree can't take a set play. He's one of the best in the league at taking set plays, and he can't take one because of his groin. But he's playing through an injury. And Lloyd and Kane both had sickness and illness for the last 2 to 3 days. But they've absolutely put in a shift, and that's the group we have.
Was Miles in a similar position because he didn't come on in the end today?
Let's not talk about that.
Okay. I just want to ask about Ibby Fuller making his championship full start today. What did you make of him?
It's tough for him. Like I thought he's a kid that's got to have a wonderful future. I thought he gave everything, moments of quality, and look, we're really proud of him. But we were depleted today in terms of a lot of things. Striking options. We lost Gordon. We lost Kelman. We lose Miles. So we've got one striker who has to think, then we play Ibby in advanced position because of what he creates and so on. So look, it's just been a tough week, from going into the Swansea game last week. We've lost effectively 6 players, and that's cost us this week.
Sorry, and just people wouldn't forgive me if I didn't ask with Miles, is it an injury then, or is it something else?
It's an injury.
PSF Steel Limited is a trade supplier of steel fabrication and erection services to the new build, construction and refurbishment market in southern England. With their unrivaled depth of experience, they excel at providing their customers with high quality and cost-effective steel fabrication solutions. Their customers include national and regional house builders, such as Barratt Homes, Bellway Homes, the Vistry Group and Taylor Wimpey. They pride themselves on their service-based ethos and commitment to customer service excellence, which includes full technical backup and on-site services and support. If you would like more information, go to www.psfsteel.co.uk. That's www.psfsteel.co.uk.
Hello, fellow addicts. I'm so excited to tell you all about our micropub, the River Ale House. The River Ale House is based in East Greenwich. It has 6 Pub of the Year awards, an ever-changing selection of amazing beer. It's owned by Charlton fans, walkable to the ground in just 20 minutes with buses that go direct to the Valley too. If your matchday routine includes a drink with your friends, you must join your fellow addicts in the River. See you soon.
Right, welcome back to Charlton Live on your Sunday morning. Hope you guys are enjoying the show. We're looking back at yesterday's 1-0 defeat over at Wrexham, our last game before the next international break. I've just realised I've said our next game is on the 22nd of September and we're in November, so it shows how tired I was when I was doing that last night. I will fix that shortly. The thing scrolling down the bottom for those of you watching on YouTube. It's a huge talking point, Ben. There's no two ways about it. The Miles Leaburn answer, I was taken aback at it at first when he said, let's not talk about it. And then I was like, oh. And then I was like, no, we have to ask again. But Nathan didn't really want to get sucked in. So when I asked him if it was an injury or something else, he says it's an injury. I mean, all hell let loose, and he's not going to say it's not an injury, is it? But at the same, I mean, what did you read from that? I mean, it's some. If Miles has got injured in the warm up, which some people in the chat are suggesting they might even have seen, which I personally didn't see, but I wasn't watching the warm up that closely. Then I don't know. I feel like Nathan would just come out and say that. It didn't feel like it's one where he's just bemoaning his luck that he's lost another player to injury. It felt more than that. But I don't know, maybe we're reading too much into it. But I don't know. If he's injured his calf or something or whatever, which someone's suggesting in the chat in the warm up, then Nathan would just come out and say, "Oh, he's injured his calf. I can't believe our luck." But that wasn't what he said, was it? So it leaves more questions than answers for me, unfortunately. And yeah, I don't know what you think, Ben.
Yeah, that comment made me laugh. Jones will never be a poker player. It's like going into that interview, he knows you're going to ask about him because as I said, we shoved Lloyd Jones up front towards the end. But yeah, no, people were messaging me yesterday, going, "What's happening like with Miles? Is he warming up?" And I was just looking at him, and he was sat in between a few players, and he didn't warm up at all. So, as I wasn't in the ground early enough to see the warm-up before the game, that would be interesting to kind of know if he was warming up and he looked okay before the game. Yeah, as I said, I think Nathan surely obviously knows you're going to ask the question. So would it come as a surprise? And he's just not really got an answer for it. That's what it seemed. Did he, as you said, did he feel something in the warm-up and then Nathan's gone, you are joking. What is today? We've already got Bree, Ramsay and Jones injured and now Miles has done that. We haven't really got many other, with no Kelman and Godden. We're struggling. Or as Miles just said, look, I'm feeling really, something's really tight. I don't want to play through it. And he's gone, well, Bree, Ramsay and Jones are playing through it. And he's gone, well, I don't want to. Who knows? You hope it'll be sorted behind closed doors and be all right for the next time we play. But yeah, it's, as a fan, it was worrying not to see him out there yesterday because we keep saying that we come good in that second half in the last 20 minutes when a defence sees Miles Leaburn coming on with his presence and hold-up play. You think brilliant for us, but they're quite scared. They changed all their attacking options yesterday and they brought on the likes of Sam Smith, Josh Windass. So we got immediately like, oh no, here come these lot. And we didn't have that yesterday. But yeah, I guess we can read a lot into it, but only Nathan knows what's happening there and you just hope it can get sorted. But yeah, as Joe said as well, it could be an illness. Maybe he was feeling a bit too run down and couldn't play. But yeah, the way Nathan hasn't thought about his reply there, maybe he'll kick himself for not giving a proper answer. But yeah, I guess it's for us as fans to wonder these things, isn't it?
Yeah, it's left us speculating, which is not. I hate speculation, but that's often the situation with our injured or ill or who knows what players yesterday. So Tim's asked because it was a very quiet response. So just for those who didn't pick up on the follow-up question, I said, was it an injury or was it something else? And Nathan sort of went, injury or something like that, as if like, so a couple of people are saying in the chat. So Luke saying, I think it was a slight niggle, but with Bree playing through injury in the international break here now, I reckon Jones expected him to play through it. All hell let loose says maybe Miles did injure his calf or something. Like I say, we're speculating on calf as well. It's something that someone's put in the chat and refused to play because of his injury record. Stephen says, so it sounds to me like he expects players to play through injury and Miles has simply said, I'm not going on. So again, this is all of it is wild speculation because we don't know. And that's the situation we're in. But, you know, as Ben says, Nathan, he might want to deal with this in-house and it's quite difficult when someone's very specifically asking you about it and you don't want to deal with it in public. So he said something which is then, you know, it's left us wondering, Joe. I mean, what's your reading of the situation? Because any normal day, 25 minutes left, half an hour left, I was thinking, right, let's get Miles on. Let's try and wrestle some control back of this second half because it's been all Wrexham. Let's get Miles on. And then I kept looking up. I was like, where is he? I was literally looking on the bench to try and see where he was, and I just couldn't see him.
Yeah, I was mulling it over this morning actually before I'd actually heard that. And normally I'm a bit more prompt with the Substack listening, but I had a house full of people last night, so I'm a little bit behind. So, but it seemed weird to have him on the bench if he was, you know, injured. It wasn't as if he got injured in the warm up because he wasn't in the starting lineup to start with. In terms of why he was on the bench instead of in the starting 11, I'm not saying he can't have got injured in the warm up, obviously. But that wasn't the reason he was on the bench. In my head, I was like, well, the only way I can think that they leave him on the bench if he's injured is they think, well, hang on, they've got Kiefer Moore. If we're 1-0 up in injury time, we'll chuck on Miles to help with those defensive set pieces because even if he is injured, he is 6 foot 100, so he can head most of those things away. But the tone of that conversation, for me, it just smacks that Nathan thinks that he's capable of putting in 5, 10 minutes, 15 minutes at the end, and Miles has said, I'm not going to. And in fact, he didn't warm up in the second half at all. You know, he's on the bench, and it sounds like it's not an option. So it is all really, really bizarre. We know what Nathan's like. He says before that if you don't buy into it 100%, if you're not willing to, put yourself or the team ahead of yourself, then you don't have a place at the club. And his standards are really, really high. And Miles, obviously, growing up, he's in his football time at Charlton, maybe those standards haven't been as high, and he's been able to get away with it a little bit more. But it does leave a really tricky situation. Tanto's the only fit striker. Kelman's out for the foreseeable future. Godden's seems to have a never-ending situation that doesn't seem to be getting back, and we're going to need Miles. But if he's throwing his toys out the pram about it, or whatever has happened, then it's going to be really, really tricky for Nathan to swallow that and reintegrate him into the squad. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see what comes out. Normally, though, with Nathan, the controversies are cleaned up, and in his first interview back, where he corrects a record or puts out a slightly different story, doesn't let speculation go on too long. But unfortunately for Nathan, he's not doing another one now until after the international break, you'd imagine. So there's a week of chat to come about it.
Yeah, definitely. And one other thing I noticed yesterday, and that it hadn't even clicked in my head until today. So obviously, many people in the away end would have seen that Josh Langaretta-Bill was there as the, I always call him the spare man. So when you travel to an away game, you don't just take your 18 players or however many. Yeah, it's 18, isn't it, in a match day squad? You always take a couple of extras in case anyone goes ill. But normally, you see, for those of us that get there really early, before the main squad comes out to warm up, you see the spare men doing running drills separately, just so they've got some running in their legs in the morning, but they're not involved, just so they're not sat getting stiff all day. But thinking back now, Langaretta-Bill was doing the warm up with the team. Because I was sitting there looking at him we were quite far away. I couldn't even work out who it was. And then Charlotte was there from the club yesterday, and she was like, "Oh, that's look, Langaretta-Bill is there." And I was like, "There, that's who it is. What's he doing there? Because he's not on the bench." So maybe, and no one's confirmed this officially. Maybe there was actually a decision that he was actually on the bench and Leaburn wasn't, because we don't know that. But that's on the team sheet. Miles Leaburn was on the bench, so who knows? It's a really difficult one to work out what's happened there. But the comment about Miles not about Nathan not being a poker player, like, he can't hide his emotions sometimes. And yesterday, no matter if he didn't want to say a great deal about it, you could tell he was disappointed with the situation. We don't know what the situation is. That's what it's going to be. Ethan saying, reading into it, Jones should have kept that in-house, but Leaburn is a fan favourite given academy family connection. I think it's Jones making it clear to Miles that he will let the fans know he hasn't given 100%. Again, kind of speculating, aren't we? But that's. I feel like that's what we've all come out of yesterday with. I don't know. Right, Apter. I can't remember if Nathan actually did mention Apter in that first clip. The press conference obviously goes on for a little while longer, but he sort of hinted that Apter wouldn't, if he played in instead of Bree. Jones said that then we'd only have been left with 2 or 3 defenders on the pitch. So I think he's hinting that he felt it would have been too attacking, Ben. I guess that doesn't really answer. Maybe late on he could have had an opportunity to come on and try and affect things, but it didn't end up that way. But yeah, it's been a weird drop off for Rob Apter, isn't it? Because he did start the season very well. Player of the month in the first part of it. The reason he's not been playing is because Bree's been superb overall. That's why. That's just the way these things happen. But yeah, maybe on another day he gets some minutes yesterday.
I hope so. I hope that he is kind of in training, learning how Nathan Jones wants him to play, and we'll start to see more of him. That's what I can only think of. I just think Nathan's got a way of playing. He's got a way of players leaving it all out there and tracking back and making sure you give 100% and do a lot of running without the ball. And maybe seen a reaction from Rob that maybe isn't up to scratch yet. I'm just speculating because we do talk about him a lot because he won the August Player of the Month. The positives we took, even though we weren't scoring many goals at the start of the season, was the link-up play he had with Sonny Carey. Now, Sonny Carey's come on and been our best player and been superb attacking-wise. If you would have told me that after the first 3 or 4 games, I would have been like, well, yeah, Apter's going to be that player as well. So as a fan, you look at it and it is, again, quite hard to see what we don't see on the training ground and the other bits and bobs, because for us, you're thinking, why isn't Apter coming on yesterday? Because he was such a bright spark and created chances, got a goal against QPR, seemed to give defenders headaches because he was very direct and really good on the ball. But yeah, as you say, you're right. I think that yesterday we started with Tyrese, a left wing back, and Kabore was causing him all sorts of problems. And then obviously O'Neill comes on and plays that position. In front of him, you had an 18-year-old making his full championship debut. So having then Rob Apter at right wing back, that does leave us susceptible to more attacks down the wings. So that could have been an issue. But yeah, I think as fans, we're right to say, well, where's our player of the month from August? I get James Breeze playing well, but be lovely to have seen him yesterday come on and strike up that partnership with Sonny Carey, who saw at the start of the season. But again, we're speculating, aren't we? Nathan sees him training, and I think that's probably what goes a lot into his team and sides and the way we set up.
Yeah, Ethan says that Rich goes to game as a spare man for me now in case I overdo it on the meatballs. I ate so much food yesterday. Me and Ben stopped at Chester. Obviously, we had to change at Chester. We had about a 45-minute turnover, and Ben had been banging on all week about this craft pub on the platform at Chester. And we went in, and obviously he's allowed to have beer. I'm not. So I was like, well, I've got to do something in this 45-minute stopover. So I ordered the fattest breakfast bap you've ever seen, like black pudding, bacon. Oh, it's glorious. But yeah, and then I had a McDonald's on the way home and a lasagna at the game. So not my greatest moment in terms of fitness, but yeah, I got my money's worth on the food, that's for sure. All right, we're going to hear from Kane Ramsey very shortly. Just want to flag, actually, if you look at our Twitter page at the moment, we're running a giveaway in partnership with Mazzala Designs. They do those cool framed pictures. So if you go on our Twitter page now, I've just retweeted a tweet from the other day. It's still live. It's one of those ones where if you follow us, follow them, retweet the post, and then tag a friend, you might get a chance to win one of the framed prints. We've done 2 or 3 of those already, and I've seen the people who've won have all been very happy with the ones that they've been given. So yeah, make sure you get involved with that and see if you can win it. Right, let's hear from Kane Ramsey. He was one of the players ill in the build-up to it, and I have noticed that I've come down with the sniffles this morning. So I don't know, no correlation, I'm sure. And also he swore, which was quite funny. But this is Kane Ramsey after yesterday's defeat up at Wrexham.
Narrow loss here at Wrexham. How did you see the game today?
No, I think the boys done well. We dug deep, especially the situation we've had. We've got picked up 3 injuries the game before last, and then last game I was struggling with illness. This game I was struggling. Lodi woke up this morning struggling, not expected to play. But sorry, he's done well. The team's done well. Conceded from a penalty. Not sure if it was handball or not. I haven't watched it back. But the boys, we've done well away from home. Probably should have got a result. Their keepers made brilliant saves. Good result.
Yeah, it's one of those things where the tight margins have gone in their favour today. I don't know if Anel's had a chance to sort of sum up what happened with the penalty incident.
I think it's tough, innit? Because Anel's obviously a winger, and he's done excellent for us last game. He done well today, but it's tough there when he's not been in that position many times. He probably thinks he's got a man behind him, why he's probably panicking, but I'm not sure whether he's handballed it or not, but we'll have to watch it back. Yeah,
and the chances that Charlton had in the first half, and that one for Berry right at the end, I think it feels like it could have been a very different story today.
Yeah, I think Bez, I thought it would have been a goal, especially with Luke Berry. That's his game. And then I think Harvey Nibbs had a chance early on, hit the crossbar. I think he was a bit off balance, but the game could have been ours. We go 1-0 up there, I think we win that. But I think it happens. There's sometimes we're going to lose. We have to take the break and bounce back.
How hard has it been for you and the boys then with these illness and injuries in the camp?
Oh, it's tough. I've not moved out of bed. I haven't trained since playing the game. But it's just like you just got to come and do it. And especially with the gaffer, you want to be, even if you're ill, you want to give it your all. But today, I think I have. Lloydie has. Everyone in the team has. You just got to just keep doing it till the end of the season, every single game.
The international break come at the right time for everyone.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. It's obviously the Wrexham and us and Birmingham, the 3 promoted sides that have come up, have all started pretty well. I'd say we've done the best so far. But what does that say about the momentum that all 3 sides have brought up?
Yeah, I think it's clear to see, like last season, Birmingham and Wrexham done well, especially Birmingham. Even Wrexham have a style of play. The manager, they've had a style of play. I played against them in League 2, in League 1 and in Championship, and I think you can see like there's not big differences between the team that's come down, the team that's been in the Championship for years, and the team that's come up. I think we've all got a chance. You just got to, it depends who wants it more.
How have you found life in the Championship? Because it's a step up, but also Charlton haven't made it look too difficult compared to perhaps other seasons.
Yeah, I think it's been a step up, but I feel like all the boys are ready for it, and especially the signings we've made. Everyone's made an impact. We got Breezy on loan, but he feels like one of us. it'd be lovely if he could potentially stay on. Who knows? But everyone works hard. The signings are great. You've got Harvey Nibbs, Tans. Everyone's ready to make their role, whether you're not in the squad, on the bench. You're just called up on. Everyone ready when they're called upon.
There we go. That's Kane, potty-mouthed Kane Ramsey, having a chat with me after yesterday's game. Always good to catch up with him. I mean, the interesting thing yesterday is obviously they're up against Kiefer Moore, who is not only like a very good player, you have to give him his dues, but also he's an absolute monster. The geezer's huge. And actually, overall, I felt we dealt with him really well. The only time he really got a free header and peeled away at the far post was that corner that went back across. So overall, I felt like, he's a handful, but defensively, considering they're sort of walking wounded there. Obviously, Kane said he's barely been out of bed this week. Lloyd Jones had a face mask on as he got off the coach, which was a bit of a throwback, wasn't it? They dealt with it quite well, Ben. And I think Kane, he's had a couple of bad games this season, which we're not massively used to. But overall, he's stepped up to the Championship and still looked very, very comfortable and excellent. Comfortable is not fair. He's looked very good.
Oh, he has indeed, mate. And then just him talking in that interview about where he's come from, really. He's played against Wrexham in League Two a few seasons back. And, last season, he was just superb for us, wasn't he? Last-ditch tackles, running back, timing it so well. And you're right, he's had a few games this season where he's not been the Kane Ramsey of last season, but that's because we're stepping up and into a higher standard, the standard he's not played at before. So he's adjusting, he's playing his game, but last few games I thought he's been excellent. I thought he was excellent again yesterday, does his job so well. And obviously, as he was saying there, with these new signings that have come in, there's been a lot more competition for places. Burke's kept him outside a little bit, but Nathan seems to keep this group hungry. And as we've been saying a lot on this podcast, like we want to see the same defence go out there because they form relationships. And obviously a lot of that last season was him, Maka and Jones in that back three. Obviously it was different yesterday with the two wing backs, which must be hard. Like you're looking across and you've normally got the dependable Amari Bell there. And unfortunately yesterday he wasn't about, and O'Neill with obviously the mistake, but he had Tyrese in the first half, so you're going to come under pressure because you've got players out of position. But those three, Maka, Ramsey and Jones, absolutely superb yesterday, I thought. As you said, done really well with Kiefer Moore, then Sam Smith, then Josh Windass and Broadhead. I thought we defended really well against them and have done lately. And fair play. A lot of us who say we've been in the bed with flu, we don't then go out and run 90 minutes and get bashed about a football pitch by the opposition like that, and put out a really good performance like that. So that must be gutting for them yesterday that they did lose the game like that. But obviously I was just thinking there, Jamesbury will obviously miss the next game against Southampton, so we'll need these players feeling a lot better than they do now.
Yeah, and that's why 2 weeks off is coming at the right time, I think, for us. Stephen says, and I think I'd be shocked if anyone's in disagreement with this. He says this time last year we would have taken ninth. Too bloody right. This time last year, I would have taken ninth in League One. To be fair, we might have been about that anyway. But it's been a really good start. We've lost. We're going to lose games this season, especially if we're depleted like we are yesterday. And again, it's a game that on another day we take points from, Joe. So I'm not too concerned about where we are yesterday. It's a long day. It's a disappointing day. We're able to enjoy bits and pieces of it, but overall, I think everyone's calm. There's a couple of talking points that come out of it, but overall, everyone's happy.
Yeah, of course we are. The reason that we're disappointed with yesterday is that we know that actually over the course of the season we should have picked up more points than we have, and we should potentially be higher in the table than ninth. We're disappointed because we've not quite hit the heights that we probably deserve over the course of the season. One fit centre back yesterday. In the entire squad, you're gonna struggle if you've got one fit defender out there. You've got one fit striker. See, as a squad, we are at absolute bare bones, and it's taken a moment of madness and a penalty to concede points away at Wrexham. So you're happy overall with the balance. It's a great sign of where we are as a club that we are feeling that we probably should have more and we deserve more. And this time last year, you couldn't even imagine. We're only just lapping just over a year from Crawley, aren't we? It may not even be a full year yet. So if you'd have said then that we would be where we are now, you'd be absolutely biting someone's hand off. But as well as really giving ourselves credit for where we are and not being too down, I do think that we deserve to hold ourselves to the standards that we're seeing out there and be a bit frustrated and think that we should have more, because we've had a lot of bad times as Charlton fans. And when we are right now looking at the position that we are in, and we're hungry for a bit more, and we think there's more in this squad, then that's a great position to be in, and we should all enjoy that moment, all enjoy that feeling, and really be dining out on it a lot. And other fans will potentially look in and scoff at that. But if you're Charlton through and through, and you're there watching all of these games, and you're riding this journey, and you're buying into this journey, then enjoy it, be happy, be down, be a little bit sad when we get the bad results, because it matters and we care. But hopefully we'll have the international break, we'll come back stronger, and 9th will be a platform that we can push on from. But if we don't get the playoffs at the end of the season, no one's going to be in tears. If we're mid-table championship, we'll all absolutely bite your hand off for that. But it doesn't mean that we can't be disappointed if we don't pick up 3 points.
Excellent. Right, McSquared email says we sadly can't have any complaints about yesterday's result. We missed our chances in the first half that we shaded, and then we're on the back foot in the second half. The handball was idiotic and unnecessary, and then Moore could have and should have doubled the scoreline. Wrexham's keeper was virtually a spectator in the second half, other than for Berry's very late header, which was he says was still a half chance. We defended solidly for most of the match, but we're desperately missing Edwards and Bell on the left side of our back line. TC is capable but wasted as a wing back, and after Hernandez's error today, I wouldn't want to see him playing in that position again. At championship level, makeshift defenders are always likely to be found out. Furthermore, Fuller and Nibs both ran out of steam early in the second half. Our squad depth is now being severely tested. If Hernandez was trying to imitate Maradona's infamous hand of God, he needs to go back to the drawing board. It was a very poor attempt. Let's hope he doesn't start being referred to as Hernandez. There we go. Lovely. That's from McSquared. Right, I said we're going to end early. As we know, it's Remembrance Sunday, so there'll be a 2-minute silence at 11 o'clock. So we will get out of your hair now. So for those of you who want to be involved with that, you can. What we should celebrate before we do leave is the fact that Ben has survived the entire show without his Wi-Fi blowing up or his computer just giving up and dying. So that's something to be celebrated. In a way, that's like a win. That's the real quiz. So thank you for Ben's Wi-Fi for going the distance. Thanks to everyone who's joined us this morning on the show. Don't forget the merch store, charltonlive.etsy.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel as well, so you never miss another show. We will not be back during the international break, so we'll be back on Thursday week to look ahead to the Southampton game, which will have all levels of spice going into it, of course. But we will see you then. Ben and Joe, thanks for your time this morning.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, my Wi-Fi. Thanks, everyone. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, whoever's fixed your Wi-Fi, get them down to Sparrows Lane to see if they can work the same magic on the players.
Lovely stuff. Right, I'm Louis Mendez. This has been Charlton Live, sponsored by PSF Steel Limited. We'll see you again on Thursday week.